Hey everyone, this is Scott Garvey. I lead Microsoft sellers for data and artificial intelligence here in the South Central region of the United States. I am so happy to be working with Nihilent on our end of support initiative. Just to give you some background, we have two server products that are quickly approaching their end of support milestone. So SQL Server 2008 and 2008 R2 will end extended support on July 9th of this year. Windows Server 2008 and 2008 R2 are January 14th of next year. Both of these products have been in market for 10 plus years. If you think about it, they were probably designed in 2005. So we really want our customers to take advantage of all the innovation that has been put into those two products over the past decade. And we want to make sure that we have all the best partners helping you in your plans to both upgrade on premises and migrate to Azure, which is our third-party cloud offering. So with that, what I'd like to do is really hand it over to Nihilent. They have built some great offerings around 2008. They have a number of proof points and case studies that they've done. And what we want to do is make sure that you are aware of all of the options that they have, and please engage them to help you on your journey to both upgrade on-prem and to migrate. So I'll hand it over to Nihilent.
Thanks, Scott. And this is Chaitanya from Nihilent. I'll give you a little background about who Nihilent is and what we do. And like Scott mentioned, we'll go over an offering that we have around SQL Server end of support. And we'll also talk about a case study for a customer who leveraged Nihilent services to migrate their infrastructure from on-prem to the cloud. So with that as the background, let's get started. So Nihilent as an organization is a global services company, and there's a major focus in the data and AI side of things. So analytics and the cloud, and you can see that in our partner competencies and a few logos of customers who we have worked with. On this particular slide, we've also called out the practice areas that we do work in. So if you've got applications that are running on SQL Server, applications like ERP or any other custom applications you've built, you can help migrate those as well. From a focus perspective, we are a Microsoft Gold partner. We primarily work on the Microsoft platform, so that's an area of expertise. Obviously, we are able to work in a global model. So as a part of delivery, we are able to leverage our offshore capabilities as well, in addition to on-site resources to help our customers modernize their SQL Server. Let's go to the next slide here. So a little more detail about what we do. On the far left, you'll see all the specific focus areas from a data and AI standpoint that we focus on. And then you'll also see a map on the right that kind of shows locations worldwide where we've got offices. This helps us work with our customers in those local geographies in terms of specific needs they might have, or if you have a geographic presence, then we're able to help you across the board. In the US, we are headquartered in Minnesota, and then offices in Texas and California and Connecticut and Philadelphia. Obviously, with the cloud today, you don't necessarily have to be physically present in every area to be able to do any work on the cloud. So that's great, and that works well for a lot of our customers. We've also seen a lot of success in the areas of healthcare, manufacturing, financial services, and retail. It doesn't exclude us from working on any other areas of business. It's just that these are the main focus areas we've had in the past so many years of having done so many projects. And got close to about 2,000 employees worldwide. We have a little over 14,000 or so devices migrated to the cloud. This includes not just SQL Server or any servers, but also for Office 365 and any other cloud-related workloads. We also do have 3 software as a service solutions. One for omnichannel marketing, which is around measuring the ROI for your marketing spend. One for warranty analytics. So if you're a manufacturer, this would allow you to manage your warranty reserves better, measure how your warranty claims are trending. And finally, the Climalytics, which is weather analytics. So this would be around somebody who's in retail and to look at how did weather affect any of your retail sales or any of your sales or operations or things like that. So those are the three key areas or key solutions that we have. And then from an offering standpoint, getting into that, on the right, you'll see the 2-week SQL Server migration pilot. And that focuses on something that Pat mentioned earlier in terms of being able to help our customers migrate to Azure SQL or SQL Server 19 for better security, better performance, to stay on top of latest technologies and to get the most out of your licensing. The way we execute that pilot is we start with an assessment to identify and inventory any of the servers and applications that a customer has, make sure that we know if there are any dependencies and if there are any prerequisites that we need to be aware of. Once we've got that inventory done, then we can look at what is the best path to do the migration, whether it's moving to the cloud, moving as is, doing a lift and shift, or if it's something where we would want to start a migration on-prem, if that's preferred because of any dependencies. And then obviously, we also want to optimize the utilization. So we want to make sure that any upgrades, any of the resulting systems are all secure, they're compliant, they meet all the needs for our customers, for any regulatory needs or anything on those lines. This, in a 2-week time frame, we are definitely looking at not necessarily migrating every server that somebody has, but this is meant to be a pilot that would get you started towards the journey for modernizing that allows a customer the ability to then leverage the support that's available from Microsoft once you've started modernizing. In addition, we've also got 2 other quick starts, one for Power BI and one for advanced analytics. So typically we've seen as we look at a SQL infrastructure, as we look at a data estate that a customer might have, we've seen the need for maybe consolidating reports or consolidating reporting needs or leveraging any advanced analytics capabilities available on the Microsoft platform. So those are quick starts we can leverage as well and start building out. So if it's Power BI, start building out a small scale version of a data model that can help with the reporting needs. And also from an advanced analytics standpoint, start building out machine learning models that would start answering questions that our customers might have. Obviously, both of those include data visualizations on top of either the data model or the machine learning model that's being built. So we think combination for the underlying SQL infrastructure and possibly reporting needs and data visualization needs on top would be a good combination. This is something we can certainly get into a conversation as a follow-up. Going to the next slide, this kind of calls out the journey for one of our customers who migrated their on-premises infrastructure to Azure Cloud. And the SQL footprint was a large part of that migration. This migration involved migrating all servers, not just SQL, application servers as well. This is where I think starting off with a 2-week pilot helped this customer quite a bit. What we started off with was an assessment in starting to look at what do the current applications look like, how many servers exist, how many virtual machines exist, SQL servers, web servers, and the like. And then we started planning out a roadmap in terms of whether this customer should migrate just to SQL as a service or migrate or do a lift and shift migration and which one would fit well within their timelines. Finally, we ended up deciding that a mix of lift and shift and modernization would be the best way to go. In order to not change all the code that they had written, all the applications that had been written, we decided to create a roadmap where this customer was able to do a lift and shift, and Nihilent assisted in that process to move all their virtual machines from on-prem to Azure. We also assisted the customer in switching out some of the workloads from SQL Server as a virtual machine to SQL Server as a service, SQL as a service within Azure. And that also had a huge benefit for this customer in leveraging SQL infrastructure in the cloud. This migration was done from a mix of SQL 2008 and SQL 2012 and was migrated to the latest versions of SQL Server. What it allowed the customer to do was immediately gained the benefit of high availability disaster recovery, security patches, making sure their infrastructure was in compliance with the latest updates for the underlying operating system and the software itself. Also, moving to Azure provided the customer with 3 more years of software patches. Although they did not necessarily need to leverage that benefit, they ended up migrating all of their infrastructure off of older versions of SQL and Windows into newer versions. That, I think, was hugely beneficial for this customer in terms of making sure that they were able to always be on the latest technology stack rather than having to do an upgrade or a migration every 3 years or every so many years. Today, being on the Azure cloud, that allows this customer to be much more scalable. The total cost of running these servers is actually lesser than what it was on-prem. And this is with the addition of a geo-redundancy, with the addition of making sure that they have all the compliance pieces in place. They don't have to worry about their HIPAA or PCI compliance or any other sort of compliance because Azure Cloud itself is certified for those. And so this was a huge benefit for this customer to make sure that their administrative overhead was reduced quite a bit by moving to the cloud. And today they continue to expand into more services, expand into additional services into Azure. They're also leveraging Power BI for data visualization on top of SQL Server. They're also being able to use any of the benefits of web applications inside of Azure, also being scalable at that point. So in summary, this customer was able to migrate to Azure, do a lift and shift as a first step, then also modernize a lot of services that they were using and leverage all the latest capabilities of the Azure cloud. And that puts them in a very good spot in the future to be scalable, to start using more services inside of Azure and at a much lesser cost overall. With that, if there are any questions, we can certainly answer those. Or Scott, if you've got any additional thoughts, please feel free to chime in.
I think you did a great job of outlining the opportunity and the process. Our main goal here is we want to make sure that all of the servers stay both secure and compliant. And really the ways to do that is to upgrade on-prem or to move them to Azure. So, we have a shared goal to make sure that your environment stays secure, stays compliant, and we want to help as much as we can. Our partner ecosystem wants to help as much as they can. This is a fantastic offering for you to take advantage of, and I would encourage you to reach out and engage with these folks as soon as you're able.
Wonderful. Thank you all. And I think we'll follow up with an email to everybody who attended. Just in case they have any questions, they can reach out to us and we'll be happy to engage with them.
Fantastic. Nice job. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you.